Along the shorelines of Japan sits a series of stones engraved with simple yet frightening messages. Do not build homes below this point. Always be prepared for unexpected tsunamis. Remember the calamity of the great tsunamis. And even high dwellings are the peace and harmony of our descendants. Unfortunately, when a massive earthquake and tsunami hit Japan in 2011, many of these sacred stones had been forgotten. As time went by and cities began to expand, the stones began to be filled with vegetation and just didn't seem to be too important anymore. With the desire for new oceanfront property at a new all-time high, the value of these stones began to diminish, and they were discarded to make room for new real estate developments. It makes sense that people began to feel safe. After all, the last calamity was so long ago, and a tsunami had, up to that point, seemed like such a distant memory. It's easy to get complacent and to believe that this time it's different, or that the lessons of the past don't really matter anymore, or that the oracles are just pessimists who don't understand that we've evolved far beyond the troubles of our ancestors. Modern research has shown that it takes around 3 generations for the memory of a disaster to disappear. After about 80 years or so, few remain who had first-hand experience with the disaster, and the messages that are left for their children and grandchildren pale in comparison to what those who are alive actually went through. Now, what about the stock market? Just as tsunamis come, destroy, and return only once the lessons of the past are forgotten, does the stock market have patterns that repeat over and over again? The Panic of 1907 is often overlooked as an important event in history. Most people haven't heard of it or even care to research it. However, those who don't understand the lessons of the past are doomed to repeat them. Take a look at the charts of the Panic of 1907 and the 2008 financial crisis. They are virtually identical. In both instances, the indexes lost their 200-day moving average and then saw a weak rally fail. This led to a prolonged bear market with only fleeting rallies that failed far below the 200-day moving average. By the time the bottom came in, about 50% of the index's value had been wiped out. The action of the Dow Jones in 1907 and the Nasdaq Composite in 2008 are strikingly similar because both periods revolved around banking crises, and human nature never changes in the face of fear and panic. Legendary trader Paul Tudor Jones made a whopping $100 million during the Black Monday crash of 1987. How did he do it? Jones was short the market because he recognized that the conditions were remarkably similar to those of 1929. Both crashes occurred in October. Both saw the indexes make new highs towards the end of the summer. Both saw a correction below the 50-day moving average, followed by a short, failed rally. Finally, both saw a massive distribution come into the market with zero support coming in near the 200-day line, which led to drastic declines of over 20%. How about market tops? Is this phenomenon only relevant to market crashes? Not at all. The rampant speculation that took place in 2020 into early 2021 is drastically similar to the dot-com bubble of the late 1990s. Cathie Wood's ARK ETF partied just like it was 1999, but it crashed just as quickly once the party was over. Both of these periods were fueled by widespread speculation as the market began to feel like a place to score quick and easy money. How about individual stocks? Can it ever be difficult to distinguish between two different stocks from two different centuries? Despite being over 100 years apart, the similarities between Tesla in 2020 and GM in 1915 are extraordinary. Both had innovative CEOs who brought new and exciting technologies to the automobile industry. Both came up with disruptive innovations that totally changed the way people thought about automobiles. GM with its 8-cylinder engine, and Tesla with its electric motor vehicles. And both had charts with vastly similar action. Let's look at GM in 1915. Notice how it rockets higher and then forms a V-shaped base, followed by a very tight consolidation, which precedes its historic 5-month run. Tesla sported drastically similar action in 2020. Notice how it ran up after the COVID lows, went tight on the right side of its base, and then ran upwards before correcting in the early part of the next year. This is exactly what GM did 105 years earlier. Even Coca-Cola from the 1930s had many similarities to Monster Beverage from 2010 to 2012. Both were new and innovative beverages that captivated the market and drove share prices higher and higher. Likewise, the charts resemble each other as they trended higher week after week, month after month. So what's going on here? Why does history keep repeating itself? Jesse Livermore once wrote, "Another lesson I learned early is that there is nothing new in Wall Street. There can't be, because speculation is as old as the hills. Whatever happens in the stock market today has happened before and will happen again." The reason for all this is quite simple. The stock market is governed by the laws of supply and demand. Strong demand drives stock prices higher, while a lack of demand drives prices lower. The supply-demand dynamic is created by humans, and human nature never changes. Individuals will always act the same when confronted with the conditions of fear and greed. Just as real estate developers decide to build a big new condo on the beach despite century-old warnings not to do so, humans will continue to recklessly bid stock prices higher and higher, even when doing so borders on insanity. But is this the case for everyone? Are all humans the same? Are we doomed to repeat the mistakes of the past over and over again? Does anyone ever learn the lessons of the past? In Aoshi, a small village in northeast Japan, not one inhabitant died during the 2011 tsunami. The residents heeded the warnings of their forefathers and climbed to higher ground, saving countless lives before it was too late. What saved these people was not that they had the best technology or that they were the smartest people in Japan. It was merely the fact that they put their egos and emotions aside and had the wherewithal to respect the lessons of the past. In the 1980s, there was a catchphrase known as OPM, other people's money. Those who used this phrase meant to really say that one could make money using other people's money. Now, I'm down with OPM, but I'm not talking about using other people's money for investments. By OPM, I mean other people's mistakes. I'm into learning from other people's mistakes. I'm into learning from the past, so I don't have to suffer the lessons again and learn the hard way. It is this ability to learn from the past, to study prior market cycles, to examine booms and busts that allows you to profit from the market. Make a commitment that from this day forward you will be prepared, that you will learn the lessons of the past, and most importantly, that you will always remember that a disaster always strikes when the last one is forgotten.